Hey guys, welcome back. So today I want to talk about a question I've gotten quite a bit in email and private messages on Patreon and places like that, and that's my thoughts regarding the import ban, not just on Russian firearms that happened quite some time ago, but the most recent action taken by the ATF back in September of 21, where they banned the importation of Russian ammunition, and these are sanctions being applied to Russia for being a naughty country, apparently. In reality, they just want to punish American gun owners. But the ammunition that we currently have coming into the country is going to continue to come into the country until the Form 6s expire. What's a Form 6? A Form 6 is a document that an importer fills out, submits to the BATF or to the federal government, and then when that Form 6 is approved, that Form 6 can say, we intend to import 10 million rounds of 7.62x39 from this company. Once it's approved, you get to import those 10 million rounds. Now, the ATF did say that they would allow those existing Form 6s to go through, but no new Form 6s would be issued after, I think, September 7th of 2021. Fast forward to today, and Russia has decided to go to war with Ukraine, and the United States is placing in additional sanctions on Russia and talking about banning all Russian imports. Does that mean that the existing Form 6s will be denied going forward? We really don't know, but we're going to touch upon that here in this video, talk about some alternatives you guys might want to take a look at if you enjoy shooting the AK as much as I do. But before we get started with today's video, guys, if you enjoy the content that we produce here at the Military Arms channel, please take a moment to become part of our Patreon family. There's a link in the video description below. I answer all private communications. You get early access to videos like this one. With that being said, let's get started talking about the Russian import ban. For many years, it was kind of the golden years of imports, and we were able to get our hands on all sorts of cool guns. Back in the 80s, we got the Chinese AKs, and then when the sunset of the crime bill happened in 2004, we got our hands on some real Russian AKs, but we've seen AKs come in from all over the world: Egypt, Romania, Bulgaria, Poland, you name it. A bunch of AKs have come into the country, and I don't think that's really going to change much. Definitely it's changed for Russia. We're not going to see any more Russian AKs being imported because they can't seem to stop starting wars in Europe, among other things. But that doesn't mean access to AKs is going to become any more restricted. The prices are going up, but we also see a number of U.S. companies starting to make the rifles, so that's a good thing. I think the AK is going to be here on the U.S. market for a long time to come, especially with companies like Kalashnikov USA and even PSA stepping up and making better and better quality domestically produced rifles. I think what we're going to get into a problem down the road is the importation of ammunition to feed the AKs. One cartridge more so than the other. The 7.62x39 cartridge has been imported, well, and the 5.45x39 has been imported historically at the cheapest prices from Russia, but it hasn't been the only source of import ammunition. We've had ammunition come in out of Ukraine and all sorts of different places, and that will continue. So the ban on Russian imports on ammunition, when that finally kicks in and goes into full effect, we stop seeing those imports coming in. We have companies right here in the United States that produce 7.62x39. Winchester does, Remington used to. I don't know if the new Remington will continue, but Federal makes 7.62x39. And plus you have S&B 7.62x39 and other countries manufacturing it as well. So that particular cartridge isn't that big of a deal. Here's what I find curious though. And this is a 7.62x39 Krebs custom rifle with a Cobra sight on it. This is a classic AK-74 built on a Russian Sega receiver, or Russian Sega rifle. And this one chambers the 5.45x39. And here's what I find curious. Back in the early 70s, the Russians moved away from the 7.62x39 and moved towards the 5.45x39. And why they did, that's debatable, but a lot of people say it's because of our M16 and its performance in Vietnam. The Russians were interested in that performance and tried to clone that with the 5.45 cartridge. But the Soviets would go on to produce millions of AK-74s in different variations. They're all over, wherever there's been a war, you're going to find AK-74s left over, especially if the Soviet Union was involved in places like Afghanistan. But here in the United States, the 5.45x39 hasn't gotten the same legs as the 7.62x39. Now, when I was a kid in the 80s, the 7.62x39 was common. 5.45x39, I don't even think I ever saw an actual round of ammunition in the 80s when I was in high school going to gun shows and stuff like that. So Most of the comm block countries in the early to mid 70s would have moved to the 545. Certainly what Russia currently uses and their satellites and allies and things like that, they still use the 545 by 39. It just never caught on here in the United States, and that's where we're going to potentially run into a cost problem going down the road. Now, Hornady has made some steel case match ammo in 545, but I would imagine these steel cases came from overseas, and they don't produce it in any quantities, and plus you don't want to run match ammunition through your fighting rifle. In terms of just regular ball 545 by 39, I'm not aware of any company currently loading it or stepping up to load it in the absence of the coming Russian import ban. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you guys also about in today's video, is that there is an alternative to the 545. Now, collectors like me, I love these rifles. I love 545, and I'm putting away as much ammo as I possibly can in anticipation of this pending ban on the ammunition. So I'll always be able to take them out and shoot them and enjoy them. But there is an alternative that I think is becoming more mature, and I think more Americans might look towards this solution because the price of the ammo will stay low, because the ammunition, the next rifle I want to show you, the ammunition it shoots, is domestically produced and probably one of the most popular cartridges in the United States. In front of me, I have a recently produced in Poland WBP rifle, and this one is chambered in 223/556. I want to thank our friends over at Norma for supplying the ammunition to the channel free of charge. This is some outstanding ammunition. If you see it out there available, you might want to pick up a box and give it a try. I think you're going to be pleased with the results. Good ammo, and they're starting U.S. production in Savannah, Georgia. We hope to go down and tour that facility here soon. So this rifle is a recent import. Again, Arms of America brought this in, and it is chambered in 556. 556 ballistically is very similar to the 545 by 39. 556 223 is extremely common in the United States. Therefore, if 545 ammunition goes away, which I don't think it will completely go away, but I definitely see a price hike in its future, you can still take a look at buying AKs in 223/556. Now, I know the domestic producers of AKs like Kalashnikov USA and PSA are either have or are working on 556 versions of their guns as well. And it's probably going to make a lot of sense for American shooters. Taking a look at this WBP rifle, this thing is absolutely beautiful. This is new laminate stocks that you see on here with the reinforcement pins in it, a nice finish on it. It's kind of an interesting little mutt. It has the bulged handguards out here, has a 45-degree angle gas block on it, then a cut slant muzzle brake out here on the front. It also has an accessory rail on the side. This rifle is affordable by modern standards, right? It's not as expensive as something like a Bulgarian AK from Arsenal. So it's still going to cost more than the cheapest PSA AR-15 out there. Sometimes you can buy an entire AR-15 for $500–600. That's not going to happen with AKs, especially domestic produced ones. But they're going to cost a little bit more, but they're going to be available in a cartridge, again, that America knows and loves. This gun I want to show you guys in the next segment, because I just picked this up because I wanted to talk about 556 AKs in today's video. But I want to show you some of the features of this rifle and just how well built it is. And yeah, I think you're going to appreciate this rifle. I certainly do. I get asked all the time, Mac, how can I get involved in the firearms industry? Well, there's no easy answer, but one way you can easily get involved in the firearms industry is to become a certified gunsmith. Modern Gun School has been teaching gunsmiths since 1945. It is an accredited college, and also if you're a veteran and have a GI Bill, you can use that to enroll at Modern Gun School. So please swing by and check them out. I have a link in the video description below. This rifle is the Jack rifle, and again is available at Arms of America. And just really quick, I want to show you some of the nice features of the gun. First of all, I've already talked about the new laminate furniture on it. It looks perfect. It looks, just like real actual military laminate furniture. Back here we have a trap door. The spring is in there for a cleaning kit. And then we have traditional sling mounts down here. A really nice finish, US made polymer black grip. And we have a non-ribbed top cover up here. And if you look at the grain on the handguards, it's just beautiful. We have the grain going around the top handguard the proper direction, and then you can see the laminate in here and the grain structure of it, which I find to be really, really pretty. Has standard AK sights that increment up to, I believe, 800 meters. I can't see without my spectacles. It has that 45-degree angle gas block, and we have a standard front sight arrangement where you adjust your windage and elevation with the front sight. This gun only required minor adjustment to get it zeroed. And then we have a 14x1 left-hand thread that has that cut muzzle device on it. Taking a look inside of the gun, very thick, stiff top cover, nice quality. Here's something I find interesting. Has that polished steel bolt carrier. I don't believe it's chromed. And then we have either a blued or nitrided. I'm going to go with nitrided bolt on it. And you'll notice it's a small stem bolt. So this, again, is kind of a mutt. You have a 45-degree gas block and a small stem bolt on it. But it's also nice to note that the firing pin is, in fact, spring-loaded. And why is that important? A lot of 223, not 5.56. 5.56 will have a very hard primer for a military cartridge, and 223 oftentimes will have a light primer for match shooting, especially if you do shoot match ammunition. Those primers can be light, and if you don't have spring on the firing pin, it can cause a slam fire, which is uncontrolled full automatic fire that's unintentional. Inside, got the shepherd's hook, everything in there. We have the accessory rail on the side. You can see the crest here. And it does come with a cleaning rod. And it's just a beautiful rifle inside and out. I mean, it's just really, really nice. Typically, when I pick up an AK, I can look down it and I can tell if it's going to be somewhat zeroable or not. And I took this thing out of the box and I peeked down over the top of it. I could tell that the front sight wasn't canted. And you can see where my front sight is set. And this thing's perfectly zeroed at 100 yards. You can see that I didn't have to make any drastic movements to it. And that's nice. I mean, that to me is important. The gun was also test fired. I punched the bore on it, and there was carbon in there. So they test fire the guns, and the fit and finish overall is just outstanding. I've bought more expensive AKs that I couldn't even get zeroed. I did have one Bulgarian AK that I couldn't get zeroed. I've had more than one, more than one Century Arms import of a Wasser that was unzeroable. But so I always look for that. And the same thing with the KUSA rifles I've had really good luck with, and even with the PSA rifles, of the rifles I have, I've not run into problems with being able to zero them or requiring myself to drive the front sight all the way over against one of the protective ears, or have to adjust it so much or so high that it's actually sticking out above the protective ears, at which point it would just fall out. So, nice rifle, and this is probably one of the more affordable options out there that just recently popped on my radar in 5.56/223. Here's a more expensive option. This is a Bulgarian machined receiver at 5.56. Very pleasant shooting rifle. I'm not sure if I've shown this one on the channel yet or not, but I'm not going to field strip it. It looks just like that on the inside. The only difference being this one does have a machined receiver, which is something that a lot of folks like, including myself, but it does add some weight to the rifle. Over here we have an accessory rail on the side, so you can put optics on it. And yeah, just a beautiful shooting rifle, again, in 5.56/223. Now, this is something that I tested to make sure. Right now, Arms of America is selling Polish-made magazines, which would be comparable to the Baril magazines that the Polish military use when they're using the Baril rifles. These things are less than 20 bucks each. I think I paid $14 a piece for them. That's really affordable, because if you pick up a Circle 10 Bulgarian magazine, you're looking at $49. So the question then becomes, does the Polish magazine work in the Bulgarian rifle? And in our testing this afternoon, it does. So you can still pick up really affordable Polish-made 5.56 magazines for a fraction of the price of the Bulgarian Circle 10s. And so that's something that you should think about if you do pick up one of the Jack rifles. Given the cost of the magazines right now, they're never going to get any cheaper. I would pick up a few extra mags to go along with it, and then every month, you know, after you get paid, pick up 1 or 2 extra magazines, start tucking them away. Because one thing I've noticed over the last 30 years, 40 years I've been shooting, is that accessories for firearms never go down, very rarely go down. They just start going up and up and up, especially when politicians start talking about things like bans. So guys, in the end, if you're a new AK buyer and you're looking to get into the AK market, take a look at some of the 5.56 offerings. You'll find guns like this one that I picked up from Arms America. I know Blaine over Atlantic Firearms will oftentimes carry 5.56 AKs. And then again, we have companies right here in the United States like Kalashnikov USA and PSA spooling up to manufacture 5.56 AKs. I don't know if they're on the market yet or not, but that's just some of the rumors I've heard, and will make a lot of sense for the reasons I've already outlined in this video. So I don't think you should go out there and just dump your 5.45 guns. People did that after the 7.6 ban. People started dumping their 5.45 guns and losing money on them. Don't do that. If you have a 5.45 gun, keep it. Get some extra ammo, or if you do get rid of it, trade it and get a reasonable price for it. Right now, it's very much a buyer's market, meaning that you can find some really smoking deals on used guns out there right now. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions, you can ask those questions down in the comments. I'll stick around for the first day or so and answer any questions you guys may have. Also, we'd ask that you support us here on the channel by going to our Patreon page. There is a link in the video description below. And also right here on YouTube, you got that little join button underneath the video player you're watching right now. Mash that join button and you can support us here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. And last but not least, guys, please swing by and check out coppercustom.com. Thank you for 14 years of support, and we'll talk to you guys soon.